Make sure the good of this land don't stay together. How could some place so good turn out so bad? Where is the love in this land that we once had? Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Somebody gone with the love that we had. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Somebody driving this country mad. And we, yes you and me, we have to stop this conspiracy. I'm telling you we, yes you and me, we have to stop this conspiracy. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Drug addiction and prostitution, teenage pregnancy have taken over my land. Much too much political corruption. Talk about race only cause more confusion. Who would ever try to put all these wrongs right? Too much frustration without no end in sight. Leader after leader put the nation under pressure, and ordinary people just have to run for cover, Lord. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Somebody gone with the love that we had. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Somebody driving my country mad. And we, yes you and me, we have to stop this conspiracy. I'm telling you we, yes you and me, we have to stop this conspiracy. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Work ethics keep on going down the drain. Young people today say they ain't working again. They tell you blatantly they ain't working no more. They tired work and can't see what they working for. Price in the groceries gone sky high. The goods on the shelf and poor people cannot buy. We morals and we money gone, we don't know where it went. This can never be happening by accident. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Somebody gone with the good out of my land. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. We need to make some much more supplication. And we, yes you and me, we have to stop this conspiracy. I'm telling you we, yes you and me, we have to stop this conspiracy. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Everything wrong in this land today looks alright. Defended by those who we know should know better. Raping women in the land is a disaster, yet the punishment recommended drive them to anger. What in the world are we really coming to? Where do we go from here? What are we going to do? The laws in the place is nothing but a waste. Cannot be implemented, what a judicial disgrace. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Somebody gone with the morals of this land. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Somebody causing much too much frustration. And we, yes you and me, we have to stop this conspiracy. I'm telling you we, yes you and me, we have to stop this conspiracy. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation.
Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation.
You see that a nation without a soul is like a ship that has lost its rudder. Our nation has to be blamed. Politics for one and politicians for the other. Make sure the good of this land don't stay together. How could some place so good turn out so bad? Where is the love in this land that we once had? Somebody thief in the soul of my nation. Somebody gone with the love that we had. Somebody thief in the soul of my nation. Somebody driving this country mad. And we, yes you and me, we have to stop this conspiracy. I'm telling you we, yes you and me, we have to stop this conspiracy. Somebody thief in the soul of my nation. Drug addiction and prostitution
Blessing. Good night to each and everyone. Welcome to Facts Not Fiction. Of course, we are a bit late today in Point Fortin, and we are a bit late because of the road conditions. I mean, you wouldn't really like to come from different parts of Trinidad and Tobago to come to Point Fortin, and I know for a fact that there was a protest as recently a couple of days ago in Point Fortin because of the same situation. But nevertheless, we are here. We want to welcome all our viewers, our listeners. Welcome to the program. And of course, you all know that this program, as we go from constituency to constituency, is geared on mobilizing you, the people, to come out and tell this country that we have had enough with the bad roads, with the crime situation, with the flooding, with the high cost of living, high fuel. I mean, everything is out the window. But nevertheless, we are here. So to start tonight's proceedings, I want to introduce you to a good friend, a colleague, someone who have worked with me in the 2020 election. A matter of fact, he himself was a candidate for the Erin electoral district. Was it the 2019 local election? So, of course, Mr. Dukran is not a stranger to you, and as he prepared for his discourse tonight, I want to give him the opportunity to explain to you what is really happening in the Point Fortin situation. So without any further ado, I pass the microphone immediately over to my friend and my colleague.
Good night, everybody. Let me welcome everybody tonight to Point Fortin. Tonight we're here to talk about the condition of the roads in Point Fortin. Well, Point Fortin, unfortunately, and like the rest of the country, have been riddled with bad roads. When you go down, we have the ongoing problem at Chatham, where nobody knows how to fix. Nobody cares how to fix, or nobody wants to fix. This problem, if left, well, that is it. The whole PNM doesn't want to fix it because they see Chatham as insignificant. They see the councillor down there as a UNC councillor, and they fail to realize that part of Chatham falls under the jurisdiction of a PNM councillor in Erin. And she has neglected all her constituents and leaving them there unabated. Right? If this road in Chatham collapses, ladies and gentlemen, there will be thousands of people left stranded away from any health care, any situation, anything they want to access in Point Fortin. They will be totally cut off from the island. They will be an island on their own. And this government is playing games and keep waiting for this to happen. But not only Chatham, because on that road there's about 15 or 16 landslides that have taken place and continue to take place. Even in the Burgesses of Point, where the PNM is stronghold, if you see the neglect that we're going through, the roads in Point are horrible. On the central road there, as you pass, the old Dunlop roundabout coming down there, there's a spot that leaks. Every day, Wasa is passing right through, the road is leaking, it's a single lane. Right through in Point Fortin, everywhere you go, traffic is reduced to single lane. So we have a single lane MP. Anywhere you go, one lane of traffic you have to run on. So I don't know what is going on in Point Fortin. I am here to urge the people of Point Fortin to get together and come out. Let's support our march on Saturday, the first leg at Palo Seco. Come out in your numbers, come out and support our march. We are marching for a better country, a better society, a better roads. Roads is what keep us connected. Ladies and gentlemen, we can lose in some of these potholes. Throw the Trinidad in Point Fortin. They fix road today. Tomorrow it mash up. We don't know what's going on. These people then don't know what they are doing. I can understand how it is, why these people then keep neglecting our area and keep blaming the people. When you walk on the ground, you hear people saying people coming out in the middle of the night to dig up the road to make the government look bad. Anybody coming out in the middle of the night to dig up the roads are bad. The roads are being degraded as we go along. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are here, we have bad roads. Our roads are horrible. We need to get together, we need the people to come out and support and get our march going so that we can take this country out of the neglect that this PNM government has on our country.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much. So at this time, we will invite the next speaker, none other than Mr. Brent Clark, activist in the constituency of Point Fortin, who have worked here for a number of elections and know the constituency inside out. So without any further ado, I present to you Brent Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Thanks for everybody for coming out here tonight. My name is Brent Clark. I was the former candidate for the 2019 local election. Thanks. I was the candidate for the Tisha Guapo area. Currently in Point Fortin and even more so in Tisha. Tisha, that is a short history. Tisha was one of the oil companies, town villages that they built for workers way back in the past. That was a community where people of Point Fortin at one time used to make an effort to get to go there and live, to uplift their standard of living, to show that, you know, they are moving from one standard in life to the next. However, currently in Point Fortin and in Tisha more so, there is a serious drug problem taking place to the point where it's becoming turf wars in Tisha. A few weeks ago, on multiple nights, there were numerous gunshots taking place in the vicinity of a number of different homes and turf taking place in Point Fortin. We have to stop and wonder, these are things that we never heard about in Point Fortin at this scale. Point Fortin is a PNM stronghold since the beginning of time. Point Fortin was handed every single thing. They were handed a hospital from the oil companies. They were handed over schools from the oil companies. They were handed over infrastructure of a high standard. The Tisha Park at one time, all schools in Point Fortin used to come there to have and bring the students to have recreation, to have fun and in sports, everything. That does not happen again in that community. The place is in a derelict condition. The roads are bad. They are on every street corner, almost every street corner there is a block now in Tisha. And the authorities and the councillors, they know about it. And for some reason, they do not do nothing. As long as it's a PNM control area, drugs, crime become a priority. It becomes a way of life. It becomes a way of doing things in PNM areas after a period of time. Point Fortin there's no shortcomings with Point Fortin in that area. We were not like that, and we have become like that in Point Fortin. We are being poorly managed. Just imagine a place like Tisha, places Clifton Hill. Clifton Hill was the place in Point Fortin where the upper class would be. Take a drive to Clifton Hill now. There are trees going out of homes. The oil company has let the bungalows and the locations that they have there become overrun in bush. This is what Point Fortin is becoming. Tisha again is close to me because I grew up there. At one point in time, we used to use skateboard, ride bicycles. It was family-oriented, people-oriented. Now you cannot do that. It's who cannot go on this street, who cannot come on this side of the road. That is what it has become to. I'm asking the people of Point Fortin and environs and T-shirt to come out and support this walk on this coming Saturday from Santa Flora on the first leg to Palo Seco. From Palo Seco to start to San Fernando. Come out and show your support for saying that you do not like how things are going. Come out and show your support for saying that you want better. Come out and show your support for saying that you do not want your children and your next generation growing up in this kind of environment. You want it in a much more safe, more productive, and more disciplined environment. If you don't come out, that you are saying it's okay. You are saying I am okay with how things are going. You are saying this is not a problem. I could live like this. But for me and my family, we will not support this crazy PNM government at any time. Me and my generations, we have seen what the PNM government have done to different areas, and we will not continue to support that. We are saying we are coming out and show our support to this march to voice our opinions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Mr. Roberts, good night, good night. I just want to let you know that we have a mic here, and I am very surprised to hear that discourse from Mr. Clark just now, because I am of the opinion that Point Fortin has a member of parliament who is in government. They control the Point Fortin corporation, and I would have thought, I'm not familiar with Point Fortin, but I would have assumed things nice and shiny down here. As a matter of fact, a long time ago, I used to find that Point Fortin was one of the best kept boroughs. So I came down in the dark, so I wasn't seeing properly. But I'm surprised to hear what Mr. Clark is talking about. So I want to let you know that we probably could change up the format a little bit, because I think I need, Mr. Clark is a politician, we need to hear from the audience here in Point Fortin. So we'll have this mic here open to confirm whether Mr. Clark is really talking the truth, because I can't believe Point Fortin could degenerate into such decadence. As well, if you wish, we do have a phone line here, so you could open up the phone lines to the public if necessary.
So actually, let me just confirm what Mr. Clark had just said. I played football in Point Fortin with Point Fortin Civic Center for years. A matter of fact, the original Clifton Hill Beach, I have thrown a number of Baywatch at that facility, where we would have bring a DJ, set it up. My DJ at the time was Run Jam and Supreme and even Wizkid. And Mr. Clark will know those DJs I'm speaking about. And what we used to do down at the Clifton Hill area, while Petrochin was in full control, is that we would have brought a bar into the area, and we would have bring this DJ as what we used to call long time Blocko, but we have changed it up to Baywatch. And I have kept a number of Baywatch on that beach. And of course, Mr. Clark spoke of the upper class, and he's right. Now, my daughter, one of my daughter goes to Point Fortin Convent, which is right in the same vicinity of what we will call the Clifton Hill. That school is situated there. My last daughter go to school there. And having to drop her on occasion, because my daughter normally take up that responsibility, I am shocked. I have been shocked to see what that area have become. A matter of fact, we went down to look at the pool, because there is also a pool in Clifton Hill. The staff club was just on the other side. And we went down in the back there recently, and I was shocked to see what Keith Rowley have allowed this facility, where millions of taxpayers' dollar is invested. I was shocked to see the condition, where trees and everything left totally abandoned in those areas. And this is what happened when you have a government without vision, a government without foresight. This is what happened. And the people of Point Fortin, while they have an MP by the name of Richard Kennedy, who is the MP for Point Fortin, I think that the people of Point Fortin should reject Kennedy and reject the PNM outright. Because I once had a girlfriend in that same T-Shea area that Mr. Clark spoke of. And baby, don't worry, that was before I meet you, right? Let me just clear that up. That was before I meet you. I had a girlfriend there, and that girlfriend used to sleep with the door open. The doors and the windows used to be open. And if we are hearing now that at this point in time, there is a situation where turf war is grooming and gunshots, which seems to be the order of the day. But I would not put that past any PNM constituency, because when you have a government who is involved in criminal activities and having gang leaders close to ministers. I remember at one time there was a minister who took what is commonly known as a gang leader to President House to witness her swearing in. That is what the PNM is very, very known for. We have seen the PNM took Mark Guerra, who was a notorious, according to the TTPS. And Patrick Manning had appointed Mark Guerra as the advisor to Jared Narain in local government. So this is nothing new to what Mr. Clark had said. It's nothing new, but the point I am making is that it reaching home. And when it reached home, is a different story from when you hear what was happening in Silots and what happening in La Puerta and what happening in Arima and what happening in Lavante and what happening in these areas. It is at our doorstep. And that is why, before I ask Councillor Tilok Singh to go to the back and introduce the next speaker, that is why it is so imperative. It is so important. I don't know why I like to use words where the boy and girl on the street could understand. So forget imperative. It is so important that you, the people, come out on the 10th of December to send that message to this government that we have had enough of their behavior. We have had enough of their corruption. We have enough of their untruth. And we are going to stand in defense of our democracy. So I'll ask Councillor Tilok Singh to take the mic to the back and bring the next speaker on, and let's get this show rolling.
Yes, good night. Good night, the Honorable Victor Roberts. Good night, everyone here in Point Fortin. We are here to make sure that the voices of Point Fortin are heard. So with no further ado, I want to bring on Mr. Clarkson, a past candidate of local government and a sportsman in the Captiville area. So he will give us a little details what's happening in the Fanny Village Captiville area. Welcome to the open forum.
Good night, good night. Thank you very much. Mr. Roberts, well, you touch on part of my thing tonight. Tonight I am here as a former candidate for 2019 for the New Village Captiville area. And I am a man who has been playing sports for all my life. I have been coached teams. We have a club called the Captiville United Sports Club. And right now, if you come to Captiville and watch Captiville facilities, the play park, the pavilion and the ground, all you can do now, right now in Captiville ground is plan dashing. That is the condition that has made all the grounds in Point Fortin reach to. That the grounds and them are not being maintained. Just imagine it have a point league has just been taking place, and they have to go to where they say is a UNC area, which is serious, to play games, because why? They have no ground in Point Fortin. So they have to go to Cedars, carry a point league to Cedars to play games.
Let me interject 1 minute. I didn't want to. But you are saying now that the people from Point Fortin have to go down to Cedars to play football, while we have a PNM held constituency run by a PNM MP and by PNM local representatives and by a central PNM government?
Yes, sir. That is what is going on right now. And we are looking at the different rates, and look at the young people in the area. They have nothing to do. They have all the young people in the area now. As they, from the time you wake up in the morning and see them, all they are doing is smoking. Because why? Weed now is the only thing that they gravitate into, because they has no sporting facility. Captiville has no lights on the basketball court. It have no lights on the netball court. It have no current in the pavilion. And these are the things that I am saying. We as people in our area of Point Fortin, we are happy with this, because every year we keep putting back the same set of people there, the PNM government, and they have been just leaving us by the wayside. So what I am asking the people of Point Fortin is to come out, please. All come out and support this march on Saturday. Let us make a difference. This is not about you. It is about your children's future. It is about your country, and it is about betterment for the people of Point Fortin and the environment, the whole country. So people all come out, support this, please. Will be there. I am bringing my whole club is coming out, because we are not seeing this as no UNC alone. We are seeing this as our country is dying, and we need to come out and do something before the young people gravitate to crime and go down that road, because that's where it is leading to. They have no work. There's nothing for the young people, nothing to do. You cannot even, just imagine, I will take 15 minutes from Point Fortin to where I live in Captiville, and I have to pay $8 to go home every day, because the taxi fee, you know why? The taxi drivers are balling every day, the road bad, every week they have to buy a car part. And this is, I think, what's going on in this area, which is run by a PNM NP, a PNM-led council, and this is what is going on in Point. So I say, let's come out. You all know what we are about, what we are for. Let us come out and support and make a difference in Point Fortin. Thank you very much, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's almost unbelievable to know that this constituency is run, and this constituency have supported the PNM for all the years, and to the end of the day, you are now hearing that not only the Clifton Hill and all those areas gone into the high woods, but you are now also hearing where plain fields now became dashing patch. So you could plant dashing, and very soon you might be able, in the dry season, you might be able to plant yam. I think Kennedy should be ashamed to stand up and represent Point Fortin. But you see, that is what happened. That is what you put in place, because what you have is normally a vote in the parliament. Point Fortin, Labre, and these areas, what we have is not representation, we have a vote. We have a vote in the parliament. We have an individual who will support whatever this Keith Rowley and his cabinet decide, whether it's recusal, whether it's to give more money to friends and family, whether it's to close down Petrotrin, whether it's to give A&V 1 million, whether it's not to appeal the arbitration. This is what we have. We does not have in these areas representatives. That is what is going on in this country. And until Point Fortin and Labre, while the councillor, Mr. Tiloxin, prepared to introduce the next speaker, while we doesn't have proper representation within these districts, this constituency, the constituency continue to go down, down, and down. And one question I want to ask you, the electorate, you, the voters, you, the man on the street who say you ain't voting, you, the man who say politics ain't affecting you, I want to tell you tonight that every decision the politicians make in this country affects your life, whether you choose to vote for it or you choose not to vote. There is nothing in this country that you can consider a blight. So I want to urge you, come out on the 10th, Saturday. It is not about UNC. This have nothing to do about UNC, This is about you, the people. This is about your future, your children, your grandchildren, your unborn babies. That is what this march is about. So if you believe that you want to stay home and sit down in your cozy corner and smoke your pipe, whether it's tobacco, weed, cocaine, or whatever, if you believe that that will change things in this country, well, by all means, you just sit down and you enjoy the PNM. Councillor.
Yes, Victor, you're quite right. We need to mobilize, especially those Facebook warriors.
Yeah.
Right? And those Facebook warriors and all who sit on the fence and make 1,000,001 comments, and we see hundreds of them. Tonight is my opportunity to introduce past local government councillor Fitzroy Bish to bring to actually help the country, Trinidad and Tobago, understand what is happening in Point Fortin to the extent what is happening to the rest of this country, to mobilize and to bring out people for this march on Saturday.
Good night to everyone. Good night to Mr. Victor. Well, I want to elaborate on most of what the guys them say. Like Mr. Clark said that in Tisha, I know Tisha when Tisha was nice. We used to have basketball there every Sunday. I know Point when Point was nice. Right now, Point is garbage. Point is a junk heap. You understand? And since they closed down Petrotrin, it worse. You understand me? I grew up in the times when Point had 3 cinemas. And now Point have none. You understand? I don't know where we're going. But Mr. Kennedy, them I always know PNM have a set of puppet in them. You understand? Them don't care about nobody but itself. You understand me? For the longest while, we've been complaining about the road. We've been complaining about a landslide in Chatham. You understand? And they're taking we for granted. So I want the whole of Point Fortin and Sieges and environs. You see, on the 10th, next week, Saturday, you're supposed to come out in large numbers. Let them people know here what happening. We're not taking it no more. A past Prime Minister say on it, like it's ticked up Point Fortin. He say, if Trinidad was a jackass, Point is under the tail. And I had to say what the rest is. All I know what the rest is. It's time for we to get up and rise. Everybody just sitting down in a comfort zone and enjoying life. It's about that. If we don't struggle, if some don't dead for some to live, we'll never reach nowhere. We'll always be fighting among ourselves. It's time for you to get together here in Point Fortin and make that walk. Make that walk. I did it before. I walked from Icacas to Port of Spain in the days of the smelter. So why we can't do it again? You understand? We had to do it. Too much illegal thing going on in Point. Too much. You understand? Gunshots come like car. Gunshots moving like car on the road. You're getting it from Tisha, you're getting it in Captiville, you're getting it all over. Chatham, all over. What is really going on? What it is really happening, nobody can say, is we had to come out and fight this fight, walk this walk, and let the PNM know here what's going on. We ain't taking this. We ain't taking it no more. For years, Point don't have a proper fire station. For years, we have our old hospital. And I could boast and say about it, and who ready to test me could come any day and time. If it wasn't for Kamala Prasad Bisesa, we never get a hospital. We never. Since 1950, they're talking about the highway. If it wasn't for Kamala Prasad Bisesa, we never get that piece of highway. And you know now they don't want to open the highway. They don't want to open the highway for who to use, for we. And Point people taking that. You understand? Point people taking that. Them in coming out, they finished the highway, opened the path. Like one thing Miss Kamala did early, as her path finished, she opened it. They have a path finished. All they have to do is put on the street light, line, draw the line in the road, and let we use the road. And pay the contractors. Pay the contractors. And let we roll. You understand? Them in doing that. You understand? What really going on? And people in Point Fortin just sitting down on their lines and laughing and enjoying this. This is not no time to laugh. This is serious time. Serious time. Like they're not seeing. I just tell them it's time for you to get up, you know. It's time. This place needs a serious revolution, you know. Are you ready, you know? Because I know if I dead, somebody go pick it up. Somebody go tie the next end. Somebody have to tie it. We can't be taking this all the time, so we cannot. You understand me? So here what happening? We go in and get everybody on board for next week, Saturday. And we supporting Victor Roberts from Palaseco to San Fernando. First leg, we filling it up. The second leg, we doing the same thing. We doing the all the work. You understand? We must represent. We must let them know. Point coming in town. We must let them know that. You understand? I don't put on my Gideon boots. You know? I sleep with my boots. You know? I say a soldier, I will die a soldier. I sleep with my boots. I ready for you to roll. You understand? So people, it ain't no beg no more. Imagine a man come here to say a pavilion and a ground. And he in line, you know. They have a big, people can't even use my mic, you know. You understand? They have Carnation Park in Bush. What really going on? And the whole borough is paying him. The whole borough is paying him. You understand? And as you start to talk, he's a UNC. Well, I'd rather be a UNC than a PRM and see in trouble, so. I'm telling you. So without further ado, this is what we're doing. Saturday the 10th, we're filling up with maxis and we're rolling up. Maxi car, bicycle, everybody. Who could walk, walk. Who can walk, crawl. We go in. Thanks.
Thank you, brother. And this is a serious situation. And I hope the 3D man paying attention to what is going on in Point Fortin. The 3D man is Fitzgerald Hines. Right? He's the 3Ds man. That is the man, right? So I hope he paying attention. Dumb, dunce, and dotish. I just hope he paying attention to what happening in Point. Because you see, it seems as though Fitzgerald Hines said that it's not his job to make us safe. He tell us that is not his work. But every time you're watching the parliament, you see he is more interested in passing all the subject. So it's pure high grades you're looking for. You always, and that is when you want to be bright. High grades, you know, high grades is a serious thing. So you're always sleeping in the parliament. And then we had a prime minister who rushed ahead and said, look, 30 grams and 3 trees. And everybody, the whole country gone mad right now. 30 grams and 3 trees. But the prime minister did not bring any piece of legislation where the same black boy who he tell 30 grams and 3 trees would have been able to make money out of the marijuana industry. So what he do, he just lego this wild horse on the side of the road, and everybody, the whole country gone mad. It's just madness. The youths just gone and the country just going. We are saying that we have no problem with marijuana, you know. We have no problem with that. But the industry must so govern by legislation as to allow people to benefit from cultivation of marijuana, not leaving it as it is and waiting for the big boys, the pharmaceutical companies, to benefit from that industry. And we are saying that the time has come where we must let this government know that we would not be utilized as puppets going forward, and to endure what they consider to be good enough for you on the ground. But we want to ensure that the poor of this country start to benefit from the wealth of the treasury. That is the mission. Councillor.
Correct. Correct, Victor. The situation is even more, what they're actually saying is the Minister of National Security, the demand right? He had to meditate, so he had to close the eye to know if the scanner working in the port, to see what if the 360 radar in Cedros working, right? That's the level that they bring this country. So he meditated to see who passing through the border, right? Where we have necessary equipment to monitor our borders and to patrol our system, pack up in Chagaramas and down in Cedros, the 360 radar ain't working. But so
Hold on. So, what you telling Trinidad and Tobago that the government placed this radar down at Cedros? I believe that those radar came under the People's Partnership. And what you are saying is because of a lack of maintenance and a lack of vision, a lack of wisdom, that we have these radars at strategic position throughout the country, and they are white elephants.
correct? They recently stole the power cable, and it was almost about 5 months before they actually replaced the power cable when they had this cable theft was going on throughout the country, right? And in addition to that, there is no vessel station, Coast Guard vessel station at the southwest border for patrols.
But Kongsa, we have a port of entry in Cedros, is that correct? And if we have a port of entry in Cedros, a legal port, then we ought to have customs, we ought to have immigration, we ought to have Coast Guard, because this port is on the sea.
Correct.
So we ought to have Coast Guard. Well, I know we have police at station there. So you are saying that there is no vessel station at Cedros, which from the Carcass to Petanalis is just about
7 minutes.
7 minutes. But we have no Coast Guard station in these areas as to protect the sovereign rights of our country.
Correct. That's the truth, and it could be tested because you constantly have our Venezuelan's counterpart coming across as their free will. What help us is the Venezuelan patrol to stop whatever they could stop. However, it's a normal day-to-day when you have the necessary no open border on our side, because there's no patrol vessels on behalf of the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard only harass our fishermen and we also face at sea presently pirates. Right? Our fishermen has a problem now with high fuel prices, security at sea, and also the necessary patrols and security within the Gulf of Paria. When we have a sleeping Minister of National Security, and we also have a consulate at Caracas having a good time, Mr. Edmund. I want to call him the correct name, right? Retired Brigadier Edmund Dillon. So what? The PNM is having a good time with the Prime Minister dancing with the authorities, and our fishermen and the people on the southwestern peninsula continue to suffer for security and a safe way of making their day's work at sea.
So when the government saying that the firearms is coming through legal port, then Cedros could also be one of those ports that the illegal firearms continue to flow in this country because it is unmanned by the protective services to protect the waters, which will take place from, if I should say, from outside Cedros straight back round to the Moruga area.
Correct.
Because I believe that's the whole Columbus Channel going back up the road there. Mm-hmm. And you are saying that there is no vessel station that we could see, and we could see straight to Venezuela, we could see the man, we could see the river mouth. So if we could see the river mouth, if it have a vessel there, we could see it.
Definitely.
So,
but Victor, understand the Prime Minister of this country had identified all the illegal ports, and he failed to tell the Security Council how to close it or what need to deploy to close those illegal ports. So he's aware of those. He made it quite clear to the public that there is, and identify the illegal ports. So then, if the highest level of this country know where the illegal ports are, why the necessary infrastructure and agencies are not deployed to plug those and that's a big question we ask.
All right, so we'll get back to that.
Right,
Let's move
so
on.
the next speaker, we introduce a live wire in the Cedras Point Fortin area, Mr. Sunil Sukram, a man who has been on the floor and continue to pressure Rohan Sinanan for better road infrastructure within the Point Fortin Cedras district. Welcome, Mr. Sunil Sukram.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sunil Sukram, a stalwart from Cedras. Tonight, I go touch a little bit on the road because I work OS for 3 years, right? And what I see the government doing about the road is not good. And I want all you to know that they built a jetty at the Mosquito Creek that I want people to find out about what they built that jetty for. What the government of Trinidad and Tobago, after OS leave, build that jetty for, right? But the road is very bad. And alongside the highway, there's a road building Mondesi side. I see a contractor building a road there. But the road that people using every day, not good. I want people to find out about that. When all are passing, watch on the Mondesi side, you'll see road building. But tonight my main topic is Mr. Wasa. I want to give Wasa a little blows now. I'm done with Rohan because he has no sense. Because what day I hear he talk, I will give him a little thing tonight about the Mayaro road and the road that collapsing. And he telling the TV host, well, you know the engineering will cost money to go there to do the engineering part about it. But I want to tell him, the Prime Minister is a geologist and the Minister of Finance is an engineer. You don't have to go far. Take them and go. Got 2 big square peg in a round hole right now. Sitting to road Trinidad and Tobago. To Mr. Marvin Gonzalez, Wasaman, you sit down in a recliner for how many years now? Today I see a lady waiting by she house and she opened she pipe to wash out she little shed and thing. It's Morbian. Marvin, people getting mobby and what you drinking champagne. Eh? Cedras people, Point Fortin people, suffering for water. There are 2 tanks in Erin, only one function, Mr. Marvin. Get up from your recliner and come and see what it is going on. There's one in Granville sitting. Cedras people suffer for water. Point Fortin people suffer for water when the desal down. When you hear the desal down, we have no water in Cedras. We want to use any water Point Fortin. So Mr. Marvin, get up from that recliner that Mr. Rowley buy for you. Come out here and see what the people need. Because the MP of Point Fortin is a puppet because he can't tie. He's only a puppet, he has pull a string to see moving. Right? Yesterday I hear he's a puppet because they tie his hand. Right? So Marvin, I want you to come out, meet the people. Otherwise on Saturday, we will meet you. Come and find the problem. In Granville there's a plan. Chatham there's a plan. Before the water leave Granville, there are 5 permanent leaks. 5 permanent leaks. Yesterday a fella tell me, boy, we ain't getting water. I say, yeah, boy, the water is waste before it reach all your house. Because it have 5 permanent leaks. When you ask, our good friends in Wasa, boy, why it have leaks? Boy, they are changing the air valves and them, boy. So the Wasa are giving with the material to change the air valves. I say, so when they dig the road, why they don't fix it? They say, no, we have money to buy the material. But today we fix some Wasa hole. Marvin, I'm telling you that. Today we fix some. And by tomorrow, all of my dig it back. Because it's poor material you're giving the people to work. We keep on pressuring Wasa workers. But Marvin, a fish just rotten from his head. And use the head and get up and come and see. Because people suffer for water days, months. I have family down there. And the only time Ikakas people had a little time to use a shower, you see that man they call Selby Wilson, a great man. A great man. Ikakas people had water 24 hours under that time. Right? And they get it a little bit within the UNC. After that, PNM come back again. Every time PNM come, they shut down something. So we have water, we go see trouble. So Mr. Marvin, you see tonight, that recliner you have there, burn it. Get up from it. And come out here and hear the cries of the people. Today, that bother me, and the lady opened she pipe and it's Moby, Marvin, while you drinking champagne in the Hyatt. You whining. And that is my pledge tonight, people. Thank you.
And that's why we need to get people to come out on Saturday to join this march to identify the failure of this PNM government and to continue to support our democracy under the United National Congress and other interest groups that will come out and support this march, Victor. A very good point. Let us call Mr. Gonzalez the vampire, because all he giving WASA workers is stake to go and plug water line all over the country. They ain't even buying the proper using the proper tools to fix the leak. So, you know, this is very important for Trinidad and Tobago to listen, not only in the Southwest Peninsula, but from the whole of the North and also Central, East, West, and also the Southwest Peninsula. Come and join in Palaseco on Saturday. With no further ado, I want to bring in a past candidate of general election, international relations, public relations, man who has served us in the diaspora. I now welcome Mr. Obika to bring words on behalf of the Point Fortin community.
Somebody thief in the soul of the nation.
Good night, everyone. The chairman and members of the executive of the Point Fortin constituency of the UNC, and the indefatigable Victor Roberts, who I don't know, he'll have to share his secret for his energy. Okay. I also want to thank the executive of the UNC of Point Fortin for having a space to host such a meeting of this nature. All right. There are quite a few points I want to raise in my capacity here as the coordinator of the UNC for the Point Fortin constituency.
10 minutes to raise them. 10 minutes to raise them.
Well, you are the timer, you are the timekeeper. Eh? Don't let the paper is only a few short words in it.
Right.
Yeah, first of all, I want to comment on the state of the Point Fortin constituency from Ikakas to Cochrane. In my 45 years of knowledge of working on the ground in Point Fortin, this is the worst, that in terms of the infrastructure, in terms of, you know, amenities, employment, it's the worst. Crime is now running rampant, you know, throughout the length and breadth of the entire constituency. Point Fortin was a place where you can go all hours of the night to a party on the ranch, a party anywhere, and walk home in the night with your girlfriend and your partners, and it was a very nice place to be, you know. Now you can't take that chance, right? There are, you know, there are home invasions. We had the case right in Harriman Park, there where I live, where a house whose the owner is related to the current mayor, and he was featured on WhatsApp like he was in the 10th floor of the Hilton, inside the bedroom, owned by a very popular name in Point Fortin. I don't want to advertise the name, but I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. And that person was, because the owner had passed away, you know, belonged to a big family, well-known family in Point Fortin. And my boy, he took up residence, okay? Until he was eventually put up on blast on Facebook, and he was, you know, immediately arrested. And then a few days afterwards, his brother decided to do the same thing, you know, and occupy the house. And so this is how Point Fortin has become. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. Tisha used to be, you know, a very nice place, but Tisha now is even Mahaika, you know. Even Mahaika is something else. And so it's bad. It reminds me of a statement that was made in 2010 by this guy. He was from Warden Road. I think he was a candidate for the MSG at the time. I can remember his name, right? He used to refer to Point Fortin as the borough of sorrow, okay? And I think it's prophetic, because to me that now really captures, the mood of Point Fortin, all right? And it's getting worse. It's not getting better. And only recently I was, made privy to an opinion and a view that there's going to be some downgrade taking place at LNG, which would lead to widespread reduction of employment. I hope I'm wrong, or at least I hope the source that provided me that information is wrong, because LNG is still a very much viable source of employment and other positives, And while that is going on, our mayor and our councillors, they are taking wrongs to hold their own all-inclusives, I'm not against people having all-inclusives, but that seems to be their pastime. And there is a local guy who lives in the Warden Road area. He's a very, very, very creative person. He has his own media. I'm sure you can help me with his name again. Huh? Felix. And he went down to Chatham by that atrocity that is in Chatham there, that is endangering the lives of the lives and the economy and everything of Chatham. And he went there with his own local media, and he was making the comparison between the state of that road there and an issue that took place in Cochrane, which was repaired but now is rapidly being, returning to how it was before. And he was trying to make the point that because down there because the UNC controls the Cedrus area. But where he's totally wrong is that Point Fortin is a PNM controlled constituency. Yes. Not the UNC. Point Fortin is a PNM constituency. The UNC controls the Cedrus district. Am I right or wrong? Okay? So that's one aspect about it, And it's getting worse. It's getting worse. And, that brings me, to a point which I wanted to raise. It has to do with the recent PNM internal elections. Very, very interesting. And out of a membership, as we have been told, I'm quoting from P.S. Robinson. I think this was a Facebook post or something on the 6th of December. That was Tuesday, the 6th. That's today, as a matter of fact. Today. And he is saying that out of a PNM membership of 105,894, so that's almost 106,000 members, out of a membership as of 2022. I'm quoting P.S. Robinson. I hope his statistics are accurate. So out of a PNM membership of 106,000 people, members, only 9,903 of those members voted in the party's internal elections. Okay? Which represents about 9.35%, not even 10% of the total membership of the PNM. All right? Just a few days ago. Less than 10% of a total of a membership of over 105,000 people. And not only that, the voting took place over 3 days. Not one day, but they had 3 days in which to mobilize and ensure that a fair percentage of this 106,000 members would have the opportunity to exercise their franchise for their party. Lo and behold, at the end of these 3 days, Only 9.35% of that 106,000 people voted for the political leader. And you know who the political leader is? Well, what's his name again? I forget his name. Keith Rowley. Keith Rowley received 9.35% out of 106,000 members who had 3 days to vote. Earlier this year, the UNC had its internal party elections, which took place on one day. One day. And at the end of it, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bissessa was voted back for approximately 20% votes of the total votes that took place. She received about 20% of those votes. And that was on one day. So had the UNC internal party elections organized over 3 days, right? Mrs. Prasad Bissessa could have gotten about 40-50%. This man got less than 10% after 3 days of voting. So if he got 9.3%, what percentage he got in Tobago? About 1%. Or let us be generous. Let us give him 2%. He got 2% of 9,000. How much is that? Mr. Bradshaw, you're an engineer. How much is 2% of 9.35%? How much is that? Huh? About 1,800? Huh? About 1,800 people voted for this man. All right. My prompt is time I have 2 minutes. Okay? You understand what I'm talking about? So Keith Christopher Rowley has no moral authority even to govern as political leader of the PM. I'm not even talking about moral authority to be Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Because the vast majority of the party of the PNM has not voted any confidence in this man. So what kind of respect can he command? He cannot command the respect of his members. So how the hell he could respect the population of 1.4 million people? So that is why you have crime. You have violence. You have our youths going astray. And it is going to get worse. Because you have a 9.38% leader masquerading himself, disrespecting the population. And over 3 days, only 9,000 people, right, went and put their finger. What does that tell you? So how do you expect to have roads in Fortin? How do you expect to have jobs when this man only get 9,000 people to vote for him? So who are you talking to? Because he playing golf every day in Shagarama's golf club. You understand what I'm talking about? So I would like to, express my support to my brother for his tireless initiatives to keep agitating, okay, as to what will be the outcome of it, we are left to see. But if things run its natural course, we have 3 more years of this. Are you all ready to go through another 3 years of this? It's the country. So what about the other 90% of the PNM people? And then when you add that 90% and the other hundreds of thousands of people, are they prepared to tolerate another 3 years of this? That's my question. Is that an answer to a question? In other words, it is going to get worse. So I'm sorry if I am bearer of sad news, but I'm facing reality. It is going to get worse because you have a 9% leader masquerading himself as the Prime Minister of this country. It cannot work. It's a joke. So I thank you very much. I encourage my brother, and the struggle continues. I thank you.
Yes, as we go along, we must, and this march represent, again, high moderate, which we have in Point Fortin, high food prices, which affects everyone in Point Fortin and this country. We also look at high fuel prices. We see the maxi taxis and the Taxi Association protesting yesterday when they tried to call the MP for Labre and the MP for Point Fortin. The response was their hands are tied. We tell them come and join and we will loose their hands. Right? And Rohan Sinanan has to come out of his shell and give the necessary resources to fix the roads that he has failed for the past 7-8 years, Victor. I want to add 2 cents to the previous speaker, Mr. Obika, when he talked about the CJRS councillor.
So, Councillor, I think it's about time you take this chair.
All right, not a problem. And right after, we have a dynamic speaker to close off. Right? So, I will come and take that chair at this point in time. So again, good night to Point Fortin and good night to our viewing audience on this live stream. Today is a very auspicious day in Point Fortin when we have the Honorable Victor Roberts and the Point Fortin activists for peace, bread and justice here as we continue to lobby for this fall in our democracy and calling out our soldiers on Saturday. Saturday the 5th, if I have the date right, the 10th of December at 7 a.m. at the first leg of this march that starts from Palaseco to San Fernando. You know, as I was saying just now, the target is on the CJRS councillor of this in the Point Fortin constituency. But nobody says on the other side of the road that is continue to slide in Chatham 96 km, there's another councillor. You don't hear her name called at all. A PNM councillor in the Sipara Regional Corporation that falls on that end. Where you don't even hear the voice in the council chamber in terms of the people in Chatham. In terms of there's 3 landslide, not 1, not 2, not 3. So over the past 5 years, we have continued on Christmas Day, we come out and protest of a Wassa leaking line that creating havoc. They fix the water leak, we stable that side, and Rohan and send the boys to destable the other end, which is the PNM side, to prevent the fuel truck to go and drop fuel for the fishermen and the taxis down on that end, suffering the people. Let's touch. We are here about the failure of Stuart Young and also the CISCAN in the failure of the energy sector. Point Fortin was the heartbeat of the energy sector, Victor. Right? We had Trinma fields producing over 40,000 barrels of oil and almost 37 million cubic feet of gas per day. They didn't want that for this country. They shut down Petrotrin. And now you're hearing all kind of, how I would say it, vultures. Other people will say other things, but I would say vultures of the PNM flying over the various fields, Southwest Salado, the virgin fields with proven reserve. When we were in government, the Jubilee fine, you're seeing the PNM vultures and the party groups flying over those fields, and you were very here with the results of those coming very soon to the media and to the population, what they are doing with Trinmar fields. Today the production is under 15,000 barrels a day, and I think it's just about 2 million cubic feet of gas, which we need at this point in time. How much thousands of workers, trained workers with the experience, had to be sent home with nothing. Some are very little, because most of them, after a payout, whatever little that they had given them, that the Prime Minister who says he's not closing down Petrotrin, by the time they pay out their little housing loan, the car loan, and the commitment to the family, they've broken. How many of our families and friends, because I am telling you, I am not a retiree, I'm a firee from Petrotrin, and PNM has to pay the price. A firee from Petrotrin, not a retiree. I was never given the opportunity. After 32 years in the oil sector, I was never given the opportunity to be retired. And most of my friends who didn't make it, may God rest their soul at this point in time, who had committed suicide, and that has fallen on the hands of the Prime Minister. Yeah. Today the bad roads is the closure of the refinery. Not one refinery, but two refineries. One under the deceased Patrick Manning, right here in Point Fortin. And the other one is in, well, we know the story with the Point Apia refinery. No bitumen. No, not, we have to import it from way far. Some of the contractors say they have to import it from some in European countries. They have to be looking for a bitumen to import to make the asphalt and so on. This is the problem that we're facing today in this country. Development. When you look at the 7 pillars under the United National Congress for Development of the Southwest Peninsula, under the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, I asked those fanatics to go online. We are online with our proposal, and understand if we had given the opportunity to develop Trinidad and Tobago, the Southwest Peninsula, where we would have been at this point in time in securing our future generation foundation so that they can build. Today there's none. It continues to be eroded by this PNM government. Where we are in tourism, where we are in energy at this point in time, where we are in terms of physical infrastructure, but yet still, they want to arrest property tax on there. We must not march for that. We march before we are calling out, your property is your property. And the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa says she will dissolve and remove property tax. Yep. That is what we are asking you to come out and march for. We stand up against them, and don't afraid to come out and identify, because it affects not only the citizens of this country, but the security services too. Let them understand that they are under pressure. Let them understand that all the agencies are under pressure, forcing them to accept a 4%, way below, because they are responsible for the high cost of living that we face today in this country. You face it every single day when you go to the supermarket, to the market. Flooding, yes, we maybe have flooding, but not to the extent that they have. And then know for a fact, ask the Minister of Agriculture what he has done to ensure that the Caridi lands and other agricultural lands were given to the farmers so that they could produce food for the nation in a safe environment that is now prepared for the infrastructure for agricultural purposes. What the Minister of Agriculture have done over the past 7 years. Both, all of them, all. That's why I didn't call her name. The present one is Kazim Hussein. But we have the Chatham farm, dairy farm, over almost 200 acres of land, with Foster Cummins playing politics with. Right? And party group people getting lands in Chatham. Chatham people wake up, because you too need lands to do your agricultural purpose. What are we going back to Mr. Gonzalez? The Southwest Peninsula should not be suffering for a pipe-borne supply. And the ex-councillor raised the issue. We fight the PNM for a smelter plan that was on the largest aquifer in the Trinidad and Tobago to the extent Caribbean, the Aryan Aquifer. We fight them, and the court uphold the decision of putting a smelter on the largest aquifer in this country. Which all it needs is proper infrastructure, management, put the necessary infrastructure in place for wells and so on, and you have water straight up
to Siparia, Icacas, and even to San Fernando. We also have a desal plan. Nobody talk about the desal plan in Point Fortin. Is it operating? What it is doing? Is it actually putting out the necessary throughput that is required? These are questions that Mr. Gonzalez has to be answered. Why the Southwest Peninsula is suffering for a pipe-borne supply. And we have two water trucks in the Siparia Corporation. No resources to actually retrofit some of them when they want parts. They are done most of the time. WASA have one water tender to service San Fernando to Icacas. One water tender. Just last week they get back another one. And it limping. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you, understand, take your party card, keep it in your pocket, but you see on Saturday, come out and identify yourself for your future, for your children's future. I see a lady some time ago crying in Woodford Square, oh, Kamala going to close the gate when she win, oh, Kamala going to close the gate when she win. But the same lady, and the gate closed on Keith Rowley. None of them have protested, none of them have thinking, why don't hold your balls and wave it? And see if you could get education for your children. Today, under Kamala Prasad Bisesa, if Kamala Prasad Bisesa was in power, we would have a better foundation for education in this country. Children would have opportunities. Some of them are crying and have to leave their families and go to foreign countries to get job, to further their degree and get a better education and so on. And these are the things that we are marching against come Saturday with our brother Victor. These are the things that each one of us, I work from the stop of Petrosian closure from Pointe-à-Pied to Port of Spain in Woodford Square. We fight it in the court and we continue to lobby for the reopening of Petrosian. And what happened? At head bend, they wanted to close it because of what? Corruption. Yep. For the whole alphabet. And you know it's from A to Z. Right? Check and do the maths and you'll understand what I'm talking about. They didn't care. They don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about their own membership. They don't care about any citizens of this country. What we had withstand over the weekend with those flooding, it tells you. And if people don't understand now what you had a caring government under the leadership of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, the best prime minister in the Caribbean to the extent the southern region, we must be able to look at the plans. We have the plans, we have the will, we have the manpower, we have the resources, we have people with brains to run this country in the most efficient way, where the resources of this country is distributed evenly to each citizen from Port of Spain to Icacas. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight is very important. Saturday is very important. And if we can get over 40,000 people to come out and support Victor Roberts, Crapo Smoky Pipe. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you, and I'm passionate about it because I will continue as we move forward ever, backward never, to change this government, to remove this wicked PNM. All hands has to be on deck. Thank you, and good night. Right, so tonight we have a very dynamic speaker, a man with a lot of wealth, a lot of experience, and a man who was a stalwart in Point Fortin, Vice President of the Senate, if I'm correct, right? Under the NAR government. I welcome to the speaker tonight, the final speaker, the Honorable Leo Bradshaw.
Somebody causing much too much frustration, and yes, you and me, we have to stop this conspiracy.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. And Mr. Tilok Singh, thank you for your very generous words of welcome. And it's a great pleasure to be sitting next to you, Victor Roberts. I've heard about you, I've seen you, I've never had a chance to really interact with you in the past. But I plan to do that on the 10th. But Victor, you are upsetting my schedule because this building in which we are tonight is a school, right? And I teach here every Saturday. I teach technical drawing to about 15 students. I'm going to put it off on Saturday. I will let my assistant handle the students, and I will forego teaching technical drawing on Saturday to be with you. Now, what Victor is doing is very important, and he reminds me a bit of Cuba Uriah Buzz Butler. I am older than all of you here. I boast of that. I'm older than all of you. And I remember when I was a kid, Butler led a march from Point Fortin straight into Port of Spain. The march passed through Newlands, where we used to live at that time. And the people were thirsty, and they invaded our yard, and my father tried to stop them, but he couldn't. And they emptied the water tank because they were filling their bottles, right? I thought it was madness. I didn't know what it was at that time. But when I look back on it historically, that was an issue that changed the direction in which Trinidad and Tobago progressed. And I want to suspect that what is going to happen on Saturday must do the same. Let me tell you a little bit about Point Fortin. You see where you stand right now? This used to be a savanna, and the savanna was crisscrossed with big drains. When I was going to the EC school right in the back of us here, we used to jump in the drains and play. I didn't know what those drains were. Later on, I found out that they were tank traps. They were built by the British so that if the enemy invaded Point Fortin to attack their refinery, which was one of the backbones of supply of fuel to the British Navy, the tanks will not be able to cross these tank traps that we used to play in to get to the refinery. Now, a lot of you don't know it, huh? But Point Fortin developed, right, around the refinery. First of all, there was one refinery, and then they built a second one. And I worked 40 years in the oil industry in the refinery. I started as an apprentice, and I retired later. I saw the transition of the oil industry in Point Fortin from UBOT to Shell to Trintoc to Petrotrin. And there was a major change when we moved from Shell to Trintoc. What happened at that time is that the business of running the refinery ceased to be a business. It became a hobby, because the PNM, which was in charge at that time, brought in a lot of their lackeys, all of their blue-eye boys who had university degrees. Some of them only had party cards, and they brought them into managerial positions in the refinery. They didn't understand anything about refining, and they didn't care. And they did not have to care, because they were protected by the party, and the party didn't care what happened in Point Fortin. As a matter of fact, they felt that the refinery will always go on. It came to a point where they realized that they were running into trouble, and they shut down Point Fortin. Point Fortin at that time used to supply all the bitumen that was used in the British Caribbean islands. All of the islands took bitumen from Point Fortin. These days, bitumen is coming to Trinidad from Barbados and Jamaica. You didn't know that? From Barbados and Jamaica. And those refineries do not have an oxidation plant for bitumen. You can make bitumen from any crude. But if you make bitumen from the wrong crudes, you end up with a lot of wax in the bitumen, and it doesn't hold, it doesn't stick. What you've got to do is oxidize it, and we are bringing in non-oxidized bitumen into Trinidad and putting it on patching potholes with it. It's only a matter of time before the potholes will fail. A good pothole pitch repair should last no less than 8 years. I see some of the potholes are being filled with all kinds of nefarious materials now, and they're not lasting more than 3 months, if so long. Victor, you need to continue to push this government, push the people of this country. We will be behind you. If I can take Saturday off from my students to be with you, I see no reason why more than 40,000 people cannot do the same, right? To send a message to this government that we in Point Fortin are through taking stupidness from the PNM. There's something else that is happening in Point Fortin. If you look around, when you drive toward the beach and you look to your left, you'll see the old refinery. And you drive through a tank farm, careful. That refinery now is overtaken with weeds. You can see the vines growing up 40 feet on the old refinery plant. That burns my heart. When I got into the refinery was doing about 20,000 barrels a day. It was upgraded to 40,000 barrels a day. And then the British left and the Dutch came in, And they put a lot of local fellas like myself and Keita Wong and Ramsey, I call a few names. And we took the refinery throughput up to 80,000 barrels a day. As soon as they brought the P&M psychophants in managerial positions, they sidelined us. And the refinery throughput went down, right, from 80 to 60 to 40. And at one stage, we were supposed to be refining 60,000 barrels a day from Venezuela. And we never made it over 2 years. We never made 60,000 barrels a day. And I can tell you, I ran that refinery already at 90,000 barrels a day, comfortably. Wow. It can be done. Things can happen. Things can change in Point Fortin, and they have to change before this little part of Trinidad runs out of control like the rest of Trinidad. Crime is coming down here. I heard there was some machine gun fire in Tisha recently. That shook me. It shook me. First of all, where are the machine guns coming from? And secondly, who the hell in Tisha owns a machine gun and dares to use it? If we don't stand up to this government, we are going to end up like Laventil, like Mova, like Waterhole, and those are the parts of Trinidad that have run out of control. And you know what the problem is? The problem is not so much policing, although that is a sham, right? The problem is jobs. If people have jobs to go to, right, they will not get themselves into mischief. But you can't just take a man and push him into a job like that. One of the problems we have with Point Fortin is that there are a lot of jobs down at Atlantic LNG, the last remaining resource for jobs. But those people don't come from Point Fortin. Those people come from Chagonas, from Port of Spain, from Laventil, from San Fernando, because that is a highly technical operation and it requires technically skilled people. So what has the PNM done? They shut down NESC in Point that produce technically trained people. The GVC, which produce graduates such as myself, I attended GVC for 5 years before it was GVC. That is now a shadow of what it used to be. And if you look at the youth camp in Chatham, the youth camp is emasculated, right? It's not producing farmers. And if you turn your back on these essential trades and these essential professions, you are going to find a lot of idleness and people are going to run into crime, unfortunately into crime. But Victor, you have spoken over and over about this. And it's time that the talk leads into action. And action, as far as I'm concerned, for me, again, starts on Saturday the 10th. I will be with you, Victor. Right? I don't know if I can walk all the way, but I have a pickup. If I have to, I will drive. Right? But I will be there. Let me know what you want, and I will be there to support you. And I ask each and every one of you here to spread the word so that this can be a massive change of direction for the people of Point Fortin when we send a message to the government that we have had more than enough and we are not going to take it anymore. We're behind you, Victor. Thank you.
Well, I'm really honored here tonight to be in the company of such experience. And of course, I want to make it clear that I am going to be seeking more knowledge from you, sir. Plenty more knowledge. And ladies and gentlemen, what we have heard here tonight, it is factual. We have seen Labre and Point Fortin, which was the backbone of the economy for years in this country. We have supported the economy. We had Trinidad and Tobago as a gem throughout the Caribbean. And we are at this stage in our history because of bad management and corruption, and bad management and corruption by the People's National Movement. You have heard what Daddy, and I want to call him Daddy by showing him respect tonight, what he has said with the refinery down here in Point Fortin and what Point Fortin would have produced. But over the years, the PNM government have failed to prepare us that we would be able to come entrepreneurs, where we would be able to become business people in this country. They have placed us back in the days of slavery, while we have to depend on the 1% and those rich individuals in this country. As Keith Rowley said, he has no problem with the rich getting richer. But I am saying tonight, if the people of Point Fortin, Labre, and the surrounding constituencies, Faizabad, Siparia, and other areas stand up and stand in unity, then we can demand our fair share of equity. The resources of this country, ladies and gentlemen, it is not the resources of the PNM. The resources of this country belongs to you. It belongs to your children. It belongs to your grandchildren. It belongs to the unborn babies. But we have allowed our government over the years to puppy show us and to utilize the color of our skin and the texture of our head to keep us back in slavery. And we must rise. We must rise above that, ladies and gentlemen. The time for that stupid ideology have since passed. We must let Trinidad and Tobago know, and the rest of the Caribbean, that we are one people, and we will stand in unity to ensure that fairness, justice, and equity comes to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and not the financiers and the friends of the PNM. We have seen Daddy spoke on the refinery, and I can't even go back to the days of TPD, come right up to where we are today. And we will see, ladies and gentlemen, that this company bore fruits. This company, ladies and gentlemen, survived even while oil price was at its lowest. But because of corruption in the industry, by the party card holders, by those who have no experience in energy, we have come to the point where the Prime Minister had to shut down this Petrotrin because of PNM corruption. We have seen, ladies and gentlemen, an audit which was done by Petrotrin, an audit which was done, a scientific audit which was done, a forensic audit, and it proves that money was being spent for oil that the company had not received. And what did the government do about that situation? While Rowley was in a foreign country and the Mark Bus, that a PNM financier, were involved in that whole situation, Rowley took a phone and called his friend, as he stated, and speak to his friend. I am wondering if Rowley was asking his friend, if all are we in trouble? I don't know, I asked him. But Rowley tell us through the media that he was inquiring what this problem was about. And all of us know, ladies and gentlemen, that the problem went deeper than Rowley lies. Because we have a Prime Minister that stands up in this country on a regular basis and lie to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But what you do, you accept that, while our parents would have scolded and chastised us for telling the untruth. Our parents today is now standing up and support the lies of Keith Rowley against their children, their grandchildren, and the unborn babies. We, the people of Point Fortin, Labre, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, we must stand up and tell Rowley that we had enough of the killings in this country. We must stand up and tell Rowley that we have enough nepotism in this country. We must stand up, ladies and gentlemen, and tell Keith Rowley, Colin Imbert, Stuart Young, Faris Awari, Lionel, Reggie Amor, the Attorney General, Kazim Hussein, Brian Manning, I saw your father maybe turning in the grave. We must tell Beckers and Camille Roberts Regis that the people of this country, we have had enough, and we will stand come Saturday the 10th
and we will stand tall. We will remind this country of a man that Daddy spoke of, Chuba Uriah Butler, who had no fear for the oppressors. I am telling you tonight that Victor Roberts have no fear for the oppressors, and I will stand up. I will stand up with the poor in this country. I am saying it's about time that the poor people experience what riches is all about. I am saying that the poor people must send their children to school comfortably. The poor people must be able to provide books. The poor people must be able to provide uniform. The poor people must be able to provide devices. And the poor people, most of all, must be able to provide food on the table for their children. We have had enough. And that is why Saturday is of utmost importance, that we must stand together. We must stand united. We must stand with one voice. We must stand as one people. We must stand for justice. We must stand for equity. And we must stand to preserve our democracy in this country. We have seen Keith Rowley, the President of the Republic, together with Blissy Prasad and others who have breached our Constitution. They have breached the Constitution, and as Daddy said, it seems as though just as those they have brought to the refinery with party cards, it seems as though that all these independent institutions who should stand up, who should point out, and who should hold the government accountable for their wrongdoing, it seems as though that these independent institutions has now become P&M party groups in our country, and we must reject that. The Constitution put these entities, these institutions as checks and balance, so the P&M cannot run away, the UNC cannot run away. No government ought to breach the Constitution for personal gains, and we must stand and ensure that the democratic process of this country remains sacred. And we must demand that those who have breached our Constitution be held accountable according to law. We can no longer tolerate a police commissioner who would take advice and take instructions from the political directorate. We cannot allow a president to take instructions from the political directorate. And once again, we cannot allow a Speaker of the House, which ought to be neutral and seek the interests of the people of this country, to also be a P&M party card holder. Saturday, the 10th of December, Palo Seco Junction is the place. The time is 7 a.m. and the crowd must be in their thousands as we march, we drive, we ride, we walk, and we send a message that enough is enough, and that those who breach the law of our country must be held accountable. So come out in your numbers. Come out and stand in defense of your children. Come out and stand in defense of your grandchildren. Come out and stand in defense of the unborn babies, and let us bring back Trinidad and Tobago to the place that we once know, where every creed and race find an equal place. God bless you. Good night. We gone.
Over the years I watched the deterioration. Just couldn't stand by idly and say for shame. Someone or something in this land has to be blamed. Politics for one and politicians for the other. Make sure the good of this land don't stay together.